Today I'm on to talk a little bit about quantum healing hypnosis techniques. So this is one of the other techniques that I do. I do a couple. My main therapy that I do is Reiki. That's the first thing I started off doing. That's what I started my business off a long time ago now. But since doing Reiki and having lots of clients over the last whatever amount of years, maybe 2012 I'm set up physically have my business here. Since doing Reiki, I have had so many other experiences through my own clients. So even though I'm a Reiki master, it's so funny we say Reiki masters, we're not really masters because we learn from our clients and people who come to us every day. So you're learning every day. So one of the experience that I've had a long time ago now, actually, is one of my first clients. I think I spoke about this the last live I did was one of my clients came to me and she said, did you ever have past life regression therapy done? Sam, her name, was absolutely gorgeous client. And I never had it done. I never understood what past life regression was. I understood about reincarnation. My mom is Catholic, my dad is Hindu, so I understand about the two different sides of it. The Catholics don't believe in it, they believe in like an everlasting life, where the Hindus believe that you come back many times over and there's a karma and you get whatever you give out, you get back. So my client Sam anyway had this experience with a past life regressionist, and she said, God, you got to go and have it done. She then started speaking to some of my other clients, and then they all started to go and have past life regression done. So they bought me a session for, I think it was Christmas or my birthday or whatever it was about €200 worth of a session, and they bought it for me. And my first experience of it was, I really thought that they were going to, I was going to go to this regressionist. I was going to go back and see a lifetime where I was this amazing healer, or I was, you know, Cleopatra or somebody great. And in that experience that I had, it was my first experience of it. The client, the therapist brought me back in this lifetime to a past experience that I had in this lifetime. So which is very interesting, because with past life regression, we're dealing with your higher self. So not the conscious part of your mind that knows everything about yourself and what's going on right now. It's the higher self, or the subconscious, the higher part, the higher self, oversoul, that knows everything about this life that we're living right now, and all of the other lives we've had, and all of the lives that we're going to have, and experience that we're going to have, right? So your higher self and your guides in spirit will only give you an experience for you to learn from right there and then, right? So my first experience of it was bringing me back to a past experience, quite a traumatic experience for me when I was a child, and it brought me back there because it knew, my higher self knew that I needed to lose the emotions and the stuff that the boxes that I locked down that I don't want anyone ever to know. We all have them. Like I was at that point, I was practicing Reiki 13 years, helping everybody on the bed, but I've never actually looked at the boxes that I had myself, well, especially this box. So in that experience, I went back to a traumatic time when I was a child. I saw the experience. You don't go through any pain in the experience. You watch the experience happening. You see it from a perspective of like looking down on it, or looking at a movie of yourself, and then you realize why it's happened. They tell you, the higher self, your subconscious, tells you why it's happened to you, and then you let that experience and the emotions of that experience go. So it means that down the road, if I was to have an experience with somebody who's on the bed here, and they go back to a childhood experience that's very similar to my experience that I had when I was a child, I don't have the trigger where I go, oh, and I, start crying, because I remember for me too. So your subconscious will only give you what you can handle. So when you have a past life experience like that, your subconscious gives you bit by bit. It's never going to, as Dolores Cannon, who is the lady who I learned quantum healing hypnosis technique with, I'll talk to you about her now, I'll give you a bit of an introduction into her. She said, you don't give a baby a fillet of steak, you give a baby milk, and you build the baby up, crushed vegetables, rice, until it gets to the stage where it's bigger and is able to handle a fillet steak. So your guides will only give you what you can handle right there on that moment and on that day when you're having a past life experience. So with my clients gave me this session. I had this amazing experience. It was a 2-3 hour experience. I had to sit out in my car afterwards to console myself and sit there and try to ground myself, because I couldn't believe that the boxes of that emotions were there still, and here I am, a Reiki teacher and healing everybody else, but I had my own boxes. So it just goes to show you that even though we're saying we're out there as being healers as such, that we help everybody else, we still have our own stuff that we deal with every day. We still have our own families and traumas and trials. And I can feel fabulous today after doing a lovely meditation and then, you know, have an experience where I meet somebody who drains the life out of me, and all of a sudden I have energy again, negative energy again. So with quantum healing hypnosis technique, where I'll go back here, Dolores Cannon is a lady in America. She died in 2014, but she had 50 years experience. She pioneered quantum healing hypnosis technique. QHHT is what it's called. Past life regression is very similar. Past life regression is where you go back to a past life, you see a life that you've lived before, you understand why you've had that life, what the experiences of it was, the trials, the traumas of it, you let go of the energy. You then, with the quantum healing side of it is, you then go and talk to your higher self, they explain why it happened, and then you let it go. And the higher self in quantum healing comes in very strong. Your subconscious, your higher self, your oversoul, whatever you want to call it, it comes in really strong, and it can also do a body scan of you now. It scans the body for you now while you're up on the bed. It tells you where there's energy still blocked, why you still have it there. It is still stuff that you're learning from. It's really good for asking stuff that the higher self about stuff that's happening right now. And remember, in spirit, there's no such thing as time. We are down here as human beings because we live on this earth, because we have we have to have linear time, so we understand this past, present and future, right? Where with the higher self doesn't know, it doesn't understand, not that it doesn't understand time, it does understand time, but it doesn't have time. So you can heal experiences that have been experiences that you had when you were small. And that was one of the amazing things that happened for me. I actually went back to an experience when I've had past life regression therapy done on myself 8 times. So once I got into the hang of it and I knew what I was doing, as in I was the client and the practitioner was doing it on me, I was able to heal myself, because as a Reiki practitioner, I was able to do the symbols back to that little child that I was when I went back and saw the experiences, and able to let that energy go. Because the Reiki energy is very powerful, because that goes back in time and it goes forward, and it can fix energy, negative energy that you have now. So with the quantum healing, sorry, I'll go back to Dolores Cannon. So Dolores Cannon is doing it 50 years. She died in 2014. I only wish that she was my teacher, even though her daughter is now doing all of her classes and teaching quantum healing all over the world. Her daughter Julia Cannon, Suzanne Spooner, amazing hypnotherapists. And with Dolores Cannon, when she was younger, she met her husband. She was born in 1931. She met her husband in 1951, Johnny. He was a naval officer in America. He was a hypnotherapist. She was helping him. So she really wasn't the hypnotherapist in the first place. She was just helping him, sitting in on the sessions, holding the recorder, recording the sessions for the people who are coming. And when I think he was around, there were 20 years of traveling, doing all of their traveling as you do when you're in the Navy in America. She traveled with her family. She would be helping him doing his hypnotherapy sessions, right? So he had one lady who came to him way back. It was a doctor in the naval base, said he had a lady who was coming to him who had severe issues with eating disorder, lots of different things going on, lots and lots of issues going on, and asked for Johnny to look after her, to give her some help with therapy session for her to lose weight for one, and also just to help her feel better in general, just to help her to relax. And in that session, which was fascinating, it ended up being sessions, because there was many sessions done with that lady. She went back that was the first ever experience that Dolores Cannon and her husband had with somebody who went back into a past life. It wasn't dealing with something that was happening now in this life now, and went back to when they were younger, traumas and stuff that when they were younger, actually physically went back to a past life. Ended up going back 5 different lifetimes, and that was an amazing book. One of her books, 5 Lives Remembered. That was actually wasn't published when that was her first experience of past life regression with somebody who was going back in a past life, but it wasn't one of her first books. That book that she wrote about those 5 lives experience that lady had, it wasn't published for years and years and years later, because nobody really believed in past life regression at that point. It was really a bit of a taboo subject. Nobody really understood about it. So She then went on. Her husband then was really badly injured in that session, sorry, that she had with the 5 lives. Remember, the lady, when they spoke to her higher self, the higher self told Dolores and her husband that they would live in a country house with their grandchildren years and years and years later. Was able to tell them the future, what was going to happen for them. So a couple of years later, after that experience of having the first experience of the past life regressionist, her husband Johnny, was really badly injured in an accident where a drunk driver came out of a pub one night and rammed into him when he was on his way home from work. And he was really bad for months and months and months. He was rehabilitated, but the night that they went into hospital with him, he was so badly injured that the doctors thought that he wasn't going to survive. And Dolores knew, because of the past life experience that she had with the lady on the bed who told her that they were going to live on, to have grandchildren, and they were going to live in the country, absolutely 100% believed in the work that they were doing and knew that he was going to be well. So that was a really fascinating story. He ended up being well. He ended up he was part amputee. He had some of his limbs removed, and ended up that Dolores went back into doing mommy job, 20 years of raising her children, because he was given his pension and she went off to do her work as a mom. And then only then after that, once her children were up and running, had gone through school, she decided that she was going to get back into doing hypnosis. And then went down the road of being a hypnotherapist herself. And doing hypnotherapy herself, she then started doing thousands and thousands of clients who are also going back to having past life experience. And because she's had it so many times, she became really good at it and a master at it. And then the guides would talk through the clients that were on the bed that Dolores was working on. The clients would talk through her, through the client that was on the bed, and explain to Dolores that she didn't need to do the whole hypnotherapy thing with the pendulum. You are getting sleep. You didn't need to be that whole big induction. That was what normal hypnotherapists do. They do a big long induction to try to get you into that state of the trance state, to get you relaxed and into the somnambulistic state, or the Theta state, is where well, actually most hypnotherapists, they don't go to that state. They go to the alpha state, which is the second level of trance. Dolores Cannon always went to the Theta state because that was where the most juicy information was. So, hold on a second, I'll get rid of all of this. Her years and years and years of experience, Dolores Cannon is a lead researcher in the Nostradamus quatrains. She had a client that went back to being a student of Nostradamus in the time when Nostradamus, the 16th century, when Nostradamus was alive. And he asked Dolores, because he also taught Dolores that there was no such thing as time. He said, don't think of me, I'm in the past. I am actually talking to you now. I'm alive now and I'm talking to you. He used to do meditations where he would do meditations and zone out looking into a black obsidian mirror. Black obsidian is a crystal, look into a crystal mirror, and he would go, he was a prophet in the 16th century, and he would see things ahead of himself. He would see things that was going to come into the future. So because of at the time that he lived, he didn't really want people to know what he was doing. So he wrote quatrains, which was like 4 lines of mixed up jumble about stuff that was coming in the future, and people had to try and work it out. So he was then talking to Dolores, which was in, only 20, 30 years ago, was talking to Dolores, and he said, get the books of my quatrains and I will translate them for you. So she then was able to translate all of his quatrains and what he actually meant by his quatrains, because now obviously he was in spirit and he's talked, but at that time he was talking to her in the now. He was talking to her from the 16th century and she was at this present time. So he said, there's no such thing as time. I'm talking to you now. I'm not dead. I'm actually talking to you now. So he was talking to her in the future. So you understand that there's no such thing as time. We only use time as humans. We need to have time past, present, and future. So I don't know whether anybody here on has had sessions for me. I'll try and look at the questions. Love my past life regression with Hazel, and huge positive changes have happened in my life since then. Thanks, Emma. That was an amazing session. I've had so many experiences. I went down the road of doing this 2016. I'm doing Reiki since 2000 and oh God, ages. I'm open my practice since 2012, but way before then I'm doing Reiki. But past life regression therapy I'm doing since 2016. And the reason that I did past life regression therapy, not only because of my student who came and bought me a session, this is how it works. It's the most fascinating thing how it works, because your guides only give you what you can handle. My guides knew that I could handle Reiki, then knew that I could handle channeling. It came me bit by bit by bit. They never gave me all of it all in one go, because, you know, it was just way too much information, way too much stuff that was coming in all at one time. It would have blown my mind, right? So my guides gave it to me in small little baby steps. The past life regression therapy, when I had done it myself, I had done 8 times. So I did 7 times past life regression therapy first. Then I had a client who came to me, and in my experiences, I've had amazing experiences where I was a child who, well, I wouldn't say amazing experience, but now I know why I'm a savage. I was a child who was in an orphanage. I came into that life where I was eating a rotten apple off the ground. I was a blonde child. I was only a little small kid, maybe about 7 or 8. I was in an orphanage. I was allowed out in the daytime. It was run by nuns. Then I was kicked to death by the other children that was in the orphanage, like that. But you don't feel that experience of being kicked to death. You see it happening, so you don't have that physical experience of it. So don't worry about it if you ever come to me. You never have the physical experience of feeling the kicks. You actually just watch it happening, right? And it's funny because my mum used to always say to me, "Geez, you're a savage. You think you were starved before." So it just goes to show you how you use some of the things that happened to you in past lives and you bring it forward, because all of your memories from all of your lives that you've ever lived has come with you into this life now, and it's in your life now. It's in your subconscious now, in a little box of memories that you have up there. And it's there, and it's there stored away. And when I do the past life regression therapy on you, we go to a trance state where we can access that box, and that box is where the information is. And again, your guides will not give you anything that you can't handle. The guides give you the information that is happening, that has happened from before in a past life. That's something that's similar is going on now. So they can say, okay, you see, you did that before in a past life and now you're doing it again. You need to stop. You need to stop the cycle of events that keep coming up in your life over and over again. The past life experiences, sometimes you bring them into this life with you because you haven't learned from them, and you're bringing it back in this lifetime, so you can actually learn from it, move on, close the door, and that's another school day over, right? So I've had many experiences. The 7 experiences I had with past life regression, not quantum healing. I had my quantum healing session done by a lovely girl that was on my course with me. I had 7 sessions done with a past life regressionist, and when I had my 7 sessions done, I had a lady that came to me for Reiki, got up on the bed, went into her session, zoned out. About 10-15 minutes into it, she said to me, "Hazel, I can see this door." And I knew that my guides were trying to test me to see if I was going to be able to guide her in. And then I was a bit afraid that if I guided her in, because I wasn't a hypnotherapist, would I guide her in somewhere into the twilight zone that I wouldn't be able to guide her back out? So I just started to question her, "Where are you going?" "Okay, let's see the door. Let's go through that door." She went through the door. She went down into a beautiful garden. She sat in the garden. She saw her guide. I asked her what her guide looked like. She was able to tell me what her guide looked like. So I realized actually it was very easy to access that part of the mind, even in a Reiki session. So I then realized, oh my God, maybe I should really go down that road and learn how to do past life regression. So no coincidence there. I had a look online, realised that I go down to British every year for in the summertime with the kids. I take my 6 weeks off. I go down there and let my hair down. I don't do any spiritual work as such. I do all my reading. And I went to British and I learned how to do the level 1 quantum healing hypnosis technique. That was through the Dolores Cannon way of doing it. So that's a little bit different, as I explained. The past life regression, you just see the past lives. You go to spirit. You go into the spirit side, see who comes to meet you on the spirit side. They, you can have conversations with your loved ones who have crossed over. With the quantum healing hypnosis technique, you ask for the subconscious to step in, and you ask the subconscious to scan the body of any energy where the energy is blocked. And then you can ask the subconscious about the trials and tribulations that the person is going through. Why is she going through this? Why does she have cancer? Why does she have this phobia of this? Why? And the subconscious, which is the subconscious of the person that's on the bed, answers the questions for me and for them. And that session is a recorded session. So when the person goes home, the client goes home, they have that on a recording. They can listen back to themselves talking. And it's the most fascinating thing, because I had my first, when I did my level 1, I had to do 10 case studies. And he was my poor unfortunate husband for doing the case studies. And he was my first ever trial of doing it on somebody else. And he was absolute textbook. It went the perfect way, the way it was supposed to go. He went into the past life. He saw actually 3 past lives. He then went to the subconscious. We talked to the subconscious about his life. Then we scanned his body. He gave me all information, the stuff that he actually didn't even tell me himself. And it was so funny. He killed me for this, but it was so funny afterwards. I said to him, you said this, you said that, you said this. And he's like, no, I didn't. I said, you did. And he said, I didn't. I remember. I was awake. I remember what I was saying. And actually, when I let him listen to the tape of himself, because I said, listen to the tape, and he was like, that's not me. He couldn't believe that he was actually talking through the whole hour and 30 minutes of it. But what I do is I put you into the somnambulistic state, and that's the trance state where is the most juiciest information. So beta is right now, right this point, you're fully awake, you're aware. We are in that normally on an everyday awakened state, right? The alpha state is the next state, is when you're watching television, you're like zoned out watching TV, the ads are on trying to make you buy stuff, sale, or walking around the pavilions or a shopping centre where they're trying to make you buy stuff. You're actually in a trance state then. Hence why you have all these flashy signs of sale signs, because it's trying to hone you in. When we do the quantum healing hypnosis technique, we bring you to the Theta state, which is the somnambulistic, Dolores Cannon called it the somnambulistic state. It's the state that you get to. It's a natural state of hypnosis, it's a natural state of trance that you go to when you go to sleep at nighttime. When you're going into sleep at nighttime, you normally close your eyes first, then your hearing starts to go, then you start to see the images. You've all had that experience where you see the images, you go, oh, I went to sleep. So you're just crossing in. That's when the images start to come in. And when we get to delta is when we're fully asleep. But what we do as quantum healing hypnosis therapists, we keep you in that part where we see all the symbols and the images that you use in your dreams. We keep you in that state. And while you're in that state, we keep you there and we keep you talking, and you're able to see and access the memories from all of your past lives there, right? Fascinating, absolutely fascinating, because when you hear back the tapes, you can hear the person is nearly sleep talking. They're talking like they're asleep, but they're actually fully having a conversation, which is the most fascinating thing. So have done so many sessions, so many amazing sessions since 2016. I did 2016, I did my level 1. And no coincidence again, did level 1. I did all of my clients down in British, because I was sitting around in British. I used all of my neighbours in British to do my clients, my 10 case studies down there. And then I said, I think I'll do level 2, 5 minutes from my house in the hotel down the road from me. If ever they wanted me to do it, it was like brought right to my door. So I did level 2, and now I'm a level 2 quantum healing hypnosis technique practitioner. So I absolutely love it. The most amazing sessions have come to me over the 4 years that I'm doing it. Fascinating sessions. I mean, I've had experiences where one guy came, he went back to being a tree. You think, what? How can he come back to being a tree? Most fascinating experience ever. He was 7 foot, huge big man. I mean, he looked like a tree as a human being, but huge big man. And when he got up on the bed, he had an experience where he said he didn't feel in this life that he didn't feel connected, which was really amazing when you think about going back to being a tree. In this life, he didn't feel connected where he was. He wasn't from here. He was from a different country. He moved over here. He didn't feel grounded and connected here. He didn't, there was loads of different things that when he went back to being a tree, I said to him, look down at your body. What do you see? And he said, I see bark. And I was like, bark? I didn't get what he meant, because it was my first experience of somebody not going back to being a human. And he said, I see bark. And I said, okay, look down, look to the right, to the left. Who do you see? My family are all here. We're connected by our roots. We're all trees. So he went back to being a tree. And when I asked the subconscious why he went back to being a tree, he said he needed to understand how to ground, how to be still, how to just watch the world going by. So you don't have to come back every lifetime as being a human being. You can come back as being other things. I had one who went back to being a stone, who just sat there still, a rock. Because we look at a rock and we think a rock is, is nothing. It's just a rock. But actually inside the rock there's eons and particles all moving back and forward. It's a living thing. And in that life they had such a crazy life before it that they decided to come back in this life as being a stone, just to watch the world go by. Most fascinating thing ever. So I've had so many, and when they go back, and it's so amazing to watch it, when they go back to the experience of being who they were before, they take on the persona of who they were. So I had a lady who went back in the times, the country and western times, when there was all to do with land and Indians, and somebody came to steal the land, and she came into that life as this lady went into that life where she was a small little child, and she kept saying, my mom, my pa. She kept talking like she was a little small child in the country in America. It was fascinating. And the father was shot by somebody because they were trying to steal his land. She ended up going on and down the road in that life to being a doctor. The man who shot her dad came in to be healed, and she had to choose whether she wanted to heal him and fix him because she was a doctor, or let him die because of what he'd done to her dad, and she healed him. So it was a fascinating experience to watch them especially change into the persona of the person who they were in a past life. The most amazing experiences. So I've had many experiences myself. I've read all of Dolores Cannon's book. She's 20 odd books out there, all about different experiences where people have gone back to not only living here on Earth but living on different planets. The Jesus experience, where I've had that experience myself, where I've had many experiences myself here with the Jesus fella, and I had lots of information sent to me through books, and one of the books that I got was Jesus and the Essenes, which was Dolores Cannon's book, and that was a book that was given to me way before I ever had gone down the road of doing past life regression. It was the book is about somebody who Dolores Cannon brought back as a client to the time when Jesus was here, when Jesus walked, and that client was his teacher. And then Dolores Cannon did other clients in other parts of the world. She went to China, America, India, all over the world, and all of the different clients were going back to the similar time when Jesus walked, and they were all saying the same thing, all exactly the same, what was happening at that time, what they use as lighting, all corroborating each other, and they never even met each other before. So what Dolores Cannon would do was she would listen to the sessions over and over, all of the sessions that she'd have with one person, especially that person who went back to being the teacher of Jesus. And then what she would do is listen to it all over the months of doing the sessions, and then go and research what happened at the time when Jesus was here, to see what was the information that the person was giving her compared to what the information that they have from science and what was around at the time. So it was able to corroborate what was happening at that time. So most fascinating experiences. So I'm just going to go to a few of the questions. If anybody want to ask me anything, I have to go back now because I'm so bad at this. Let me just see any questions here. Don't do that. Hi everyone, I didn't realize you're all on here. Hi Gillian. Hi Rhonda. And Sharon, my session was so interesting. I don't know whether when you're on live you can see other people's. Maybe you can. I've done so many sessions. I've had an experience where a lady went back to being on the Titanic. That was amazing. She was actually one of my best clients. She was jumping from life to life to life. She went back to being on. She said, "I'm going on a journey today," and I said, "Look down at your body," because what you do is when you come into the life, what happens for us? I'll explain what happens for it when you come to me for quantum healing. I want to keep an eye on the time so I don't run over. When you come to me for quantum healing, we have a little chat first. I need to know all about your life first. I need to know all about your trials, your tribulations, your woes, everything that's going on, any phobias you have, anything that's going on for you, physical ailments, discomforts, anything that you have going on in your body. I need to know all of this about you. And I need to know your deepest, darkest secrets, because it's something that when you go into this trance, you will start to tell me anyway. So you're better off telling me beforehand, because then I know all of the information. So if you don't tell me about abuse or stuff that's going on that you don't really want to tell me about, and it comes up in the past life. If you didn't tell me about it in the first 2 hours that we talk, then I don't understand it because you didn't tell me that story. So we talk about all of that first in the first hour or 2 hours of having the session. You tell me all about the trials, all the things that you'd like to change in life, anything that is going on for you. As I said, if there's anything like you can't get into water, you're terrified of water, you want to know why that has happened. If you have any birthmarks, that's really amazing, because I've had a lady who had a massive big birthmark on her hand, because your cells remember when you were killed before in another lifetime. Your cells actually come back with their memory of having something happen to them. Something happened to your cells. So this lady had came with a big huge brown birthmark on her hand there, and when she went to the past life, she was shot by an arrow into her chest, and she put her hand up just to save herself, and the arrow went straight through her hand, which her now in this life, her memories, her cellular memory is holding that image on her hand. So that was fascinating. I've had this lady that I said to you was one of my best sessions. She was amazing. She went back to being on the Titanic, and we had this conversation first where we talked about her life and all that, and she doesn't really like water. She said, I don't really like black water. You know, when you walk down the coast of Malahide, she said, I just hate that water. When you look at it and it's black, I just hate it. And we went in, we put her up on the bed. So the trance induction is about 15 minutes. It's like a light way of getting you in, bring you in and to get you into that trance state. And then you come down off the cloud, you bring yourself on a cloud, you come down off the cloud, and the cloud floats down into a time where we want to see something that's happened to you. And she comes down and she said, oh, I'm looking at my feet. I think she was around a teenager. She said, I'm looking down, I'm going on a journey today. She was so excited. I'm going on a journey today. And I said, look down to your body, what are you wearing? I'm wearing my new purple coat. And I said, who did you buy that coat for yourself? No, my granddad bought me that coat. She said, he's my granddad, but people think he's my dad because my mum died when I was a child. So she was able to tell me that the granddad was a doctor. He bought this beautiful coat. We're going on this journey. We're getting on a boat today. And she looks down at her. I said, look down at your hands. Do you see anything? Are you holding anything? She said, yeah, I'm holding brown suitcases. I said, you must be going on a big journey. We have 2 suitcases. She said, yeah, I'm going on this boat today. I said, can you see the boat? She said, I'm standing in front of the boat. And I said, look up, tell me what's the boat looks like. She's given me the colours. It's black, it's white. I said, is there a name on the boat? She said, yeah, it's the Titanic. And you're like, the what? Because I was like, oh my God, she's going on the Titanic, because I know the story of the Titanic, but you don't want to freak her out and go, oh my God, don't get on the boat, because she has to have that experience. We've got to go through that experience of her getting on the boat to see, does she die? Because some people didn't die on that boat. So you have to go through the experience of seeing, does she die on the boat? So she gets on the boat. She explains that she's on level 2. She has the money. She has a good ticket. So she's on level 2. The granddad goes off for a drink. I think she was only on the boat a night or 2, or maybe just, I think it happened the first night. She goes into bed. She puts her night dress on. She tells her she's this lovely night dress. He goes off for a drink down to the restaurant, and she feels a thud in the middle of the night, and she falls out of the bed, and she gets up and she puts her coat on. She opens the door to go. She puts her coat on, and she then goes looking for her granddad, and she's searching for her granddad. She can't find her granddad, and somebody then hands her the life jacket. They say that they're being hit by an iceberg, or they've hit something. And eventually she ends up having to jump into the water, and she jumps into the water with the big woolen coat on, and down she goes like a ton of bricks, and she dies in the water. And when she dies in the water, she says the coat is too heavy. The coat's too heavy, and she goes down in the water, and she doesn't feel the experience of dying, like trying to catch the breath. She doesn't feel that experience. She just knows. Then she's on the spirit side. I said, tell me what's on the spirit side. She said, my granddad is here. He already had jumped in and died. Fascinating. And then when we got to the subconscious, we asked the subconscious why they showed her that lifetime. And then they said now she understands why she doesn't like black water. She doesn't like going down by the beach, because it was the night time then on the Titanic where she had to jump into the water. So she hates black water because of that. So it's really interesting how you can bring back memories from past lives that were traumatic memories and bring them into this lifetime, and not know why you don't like water or dark water in this lifetime, because you've died in the water in previous lifetimes. So it's the most fascinating thing. So thanks, Andrea. Yeah, it is absolutely fascinating. It's something that I absolutely love doing, because I'm such a nosy bitch, really, to be honest. I don't want to know who I was before. I want to know all of the lifetimes that I've lived. I've done it so many times on myself now that it's such an easy way for me to get in. The first time when I had it done, because I went back in my first experience when I had it done on myself, I went back into my past life experience now in this lifetime. You don't believe, you do not, because those experiences happened to me. I remember those experiences happened to me. But when I had my first experience of going back when I was an Apache Indian, which is so funny because everyone says, Hazel, you look like an Apache Indian child. I went back to that lifetime. I could see my little brown hands, even though I have brown hands now, I could see my little brown hands going up like little house on the prairie, going up to my little house I lived up on the top of the hill with my Apache parents. And my dad wasn't really very nice in that lifetime. He was really horrible. I was the only child. Well, I thought I was the only child. I was the only child. I went on to marrying the prairie boy, who was Danny. I absolutely loved Danny in that lifetime, who ended up now in this lifetime as my husband incarnated, which is so funny. Danny's mother was redheaded, loads of kids. We got married. My mother and father, my father was devastated because I wasn't marrying into the Apache lifetime, the Apache tradition. And I wanted to marry Danny because I loved him, and I went with my heart and I stayed with him, and I had loads of children with him. Danny ended up dying, and then I had to bury my parents. And when I went to the spirit side, I met my brother from that lifetime, from my Apache lifetime. I didn't have a brother when I was looking at it, but in that lifetime, when I went to the spirit side, they asked who comes forward, my brother from that life. And then they explained to me that I had a brother first, he died. And my father was devastated that he died. And then there was only one child, who was the female child in the Apaches, which was not going to carry on the tradition of having the name of the Apaches. And here I was, the daughter, and my father hated me, the fact that I wasn't going to carry on tradition. So my brother comes forward in the past life, when I went across into the spirit side. My brother comes and he said, I'm so sorry I left you all of that. You had to deal with my dad the way he was because of my death, because I died. And then my father came forward and my mother came forward. The two Apaches parents that I had came forward, and he was totally different in the spirit side. He said, I'm so sorry for doing what I did. He explained all of why I had to go through that life. It was amazing. And now I can still see what that man and woman looked like. I still see what my parents looked like in that lifetime. Because what I did was I brought that life that I experienced forward into my now, the experience, because I like watching a movie of it last night, and it's here now. So I can see the life of what I had and understand what not to do in this lifetime. In that lifetime, they said, don't revert back. You went with your heart. Go with your heart, and don't allow anyone ever sway you from that. Go with your heart. Don't revert back. Because in this lifetime, I was a real people pleaser. I was going yes, 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 yes to everybody, where I was actually, no, I'm going to say no to this. So they were trying to teach me not to do that and not to go be the person that I was. They were trying to teach me to be the person that I was in that lifetime, where I was very strong-willed and I went with my heart in that lifetime. So absolutely fascinating. So let me just go to a few questions. When will you be doing past life sessions again? Oh my God, I so wish I could be working. The only thing with quantum healing hypnosis technique is that they don't allow you, because Dolores Cannon, in the times when she was teaching quantum healing hypnosis technique, QHHT, let's shorten it. Quantum healing hypnosis technique, QHHT, is the regression that we do. And Dolores Cannon, from when she was teaching it, she didn't allow us to do it over Skype, over the internet, because like we've seen the last time I was on live, it was kept lagging all the time and zoning out. So it's something that you can't really do over the internet, but it's something that you can't do remotely, because if you put that person into a state of trance and then you're not in the room with them, and then all of a sudden the internet goes down, that person is in the trance state. Now remember that the guides will bring you out of it anyway. You'll be asleep for a bit, and then you'll wake up and you'll feel like you've had a lovely sleep. Exactly the same. It's not a state of trance that you've never been in before. You go into it at night time when you sleep, and you come out of it in the morning. So it's a very natural state of hypnosis. So we're doing it at night and in the morning anyway. So it's not something it's something that's never happened. You're going to be left in the twilight zone. It's a very safe way of doing it. So when I do come back to, please God, we're out of here sooner rather than later, I will be going straight back into all work. And I only do 2 quantum healing sessions a week. The reason being, as much as I love to do more, it's a 5-hour session. I get to do I have so many Reiki clients in a week that I don't get to do those, and 5 hours for me is 5 clients. So I don't do as many as I'd love to do. It's more of my sideline therapy, Reiki is my main treatments here that I do, because Reiki, I know my guides are asking me to activate people, to activate them with the energy. So that's really, at the moment, we need to be activated. So I'm bringing more clients to me now at the moment, because I know I need to activate them to get them up to higher that vibration because of the shift that's happening. So I do 2 a week. You need to be ahead of me by, so please God, we get back to working before summer. I'll then start taking some sessions, and it'll be 2 a week. I have already people in my book. So you just book in the day, you pay your deposit €50 and you book in the day, and then when you come on the day, then you pay me for the rest. And it's a 5-hour session, so it's a long session. And I would always recommend people to go online. There's another great regressionist, or past life regressionist. His name is Brian Wise. Amazing book. He sold millions of this book, Many Lies, Many Masters. One of the first books I've ever read when it was to do with hypnosis. He also was a psychiatrist in Mount Sinai in the hospital in America. He brought back this girl who was having lots of traumas in her life. She was only a young girl that worked in the office. He said he used her as a muse. He used her as one of his students, and he brought her back 81 different lives to 81 different lifetimes. And he had never heard about it at that point. He went online and Googled to see had anybody else, any hypnotherapists out there, ever brought somebody back into past lives. And he saw lots of different documents done by hypnotherapists who have had it done but didn't put it out there because they thought they might be struck off of being the hypnotherapy board or whatever it is they have there. So he did it on the QT behind the scenes, and he brought her back 81 different lifetimes. And that book, Many Lives, Many Masters, it is a fascinating book. So he has online on YouTube, Brian Wise, his name is, Past Life Regression. It's a 30-minute past life regression. He does it out for a group of people, so it's not, one-on-one. So he's generically doing it, a lot of people in the room. He does it, but you can also listen in on that. Close your eyes. You can sit up in the bed and do it. You can lie down in the bed. Most people will fall asleep. Sit up and do it in the bed and do 30 minutes of it. And then you get used to going into that state of trance where you can go and you get used to it. And I've done it a few times before. Very exact same situation that you do when you're actually paying for the session off somebody. So if people do that, maybe you can message me afterwards and let me know, did you see anything on your first experience of doing it? It's a 30-minute one. I put it up. I'm going to hopefully put this up on my YouTube channel. I'll put it up there, and I'll put underneath the tag to send you to that YouTube page of the Past Life Regression. It's only 30 minutes. Fascinating. He's brilliant. He has amazing books as well. I just love his voice. So I hope that answered your question. When will I be doing Past Life Regressions again? How can we connect to the subconscious ourselves? So Sharon, that's actually a way of doing it where most people would do it through meditation. That's why it's so important to meditate now, to try and get used to being meditating as much as possible. Even if it's for a few minutes, get used to doing the meditations. The Past Life Regression one that he does on YouTube is really good. I'm doing my own one. I will be putting that up for the World Regression Week, which is done through the quantum healers all over the world. They do World Regression Week. They did it 2 years ago for one day, World Regression Day, and it was so good that they decided last year they were going to do it for a whole week. And I've taken part in that, where I did a little video for it. So I'm going to be doing a video. I'm not going to do it on a live video because I'm just wary of the lagging, just in case with the internet. The internet is quite slow and it goes up and down, that I don't want to do it and it lags in a live session. So I'm going to do it as record it and put it up on the 15th of April. So that's Dolores Cannon's birthday, 15th of April. I'm going to put it up on my Instagram, on my YouTube page, and then you can go and do it yourself. That will be a group regression session where it's going to be generically out to all of you. Like I did the other day with the EFT sessions, it was a generic one, even though I have this problem. This one will be a generic one of just going back to, in this life now, in the past experience, going back into your mom's womb, going back into a past life. Very easy way of doing it, and your higher self can be contacted then yourself in that session. You can ask to speak to your higher self. You can ask your higher self in that session, before you start a session, I always say, you know, if you're going to bed at night time, I always say to my guides, can you give me some information in my sleep about this? Can you show me a book? Can you, because in your subconscious at night time when you're sleeping is when your guides put those information in your head. So that's the best time for you to get information. In the morning when you wake up, if you had a really vivid dreams come sometimes reoccurring because your guides are trying to tell you something. Write out on a little journal in the morning when you wake up before you put your foot onto the floor, because when you put your foot onto the floor, your spirit body comes back into your physical body, and then you're connected, where when you're still in the bed, your subconscious is up and out of your physical body still, because you're coming out of that somnambulistic state back down into alpha, back into beta, to be fully awake. You've all had that experience where you've had the most amazing dream. You wake up, you go, oh my God, that was amazing. And then you go make a cup of tea and you've forgotten it all, because you go back to being human again. The spirit comes in physically in the body, and then you're not connected to your subconscious. They have said, which I have noticed, I said I had my first experience with my husband, who didn't remember anything from what we did. He said, I remember what I was saying. And then when he listened back to the tape, he couldn't believe the session that he was talking, and the recorded session that we had from the hypnosis. He was my first client, and he couldn't believe all the stuff that he was saying. So it is fascinating when you go back and you have the tape to listen to. I don't know whether anybody here, Sharon, I don't know whether you've listened to your tape, and Emma, it is my most fascinating experience when you listen back to tape, because you sound like you're asleep. You sound like you're sleep talking. And there's a lot of my clients, there's a lot of my clients who are coming up until before I finished here. A lot of my clients are waking up and remembering straight away. Oh my God, I had one girl who went back to being Judas. I know that might be a bit weird for people out there to believe that you can go back and be, you know, one of the biblical characters. Yes, you can. You can. And I had the most amazing experience with her, where she went back to being Judas. Similar experience, some similar story to the Bible, but not totally 100% accurate, because a lot of the stuff was left out. I was never going to tell anyone that story until I had her that morning. I did the session from 9:30 to 2:30. She went back to the time of being Judas. She gets up off the bed. She's like, fucking Judas, because she couldn't believe that she was Judas, right? And I know it's probably mad to believe that you could be the biggest betrayer in the Bible, but yes, you can, because you have to be everything. You've got to come down here and be everything, to experience everything. Be the murderer, be the victim, you know, be in love, be not in love. All of those experiences, you've got to have them to have life experiences, because you want to evolve in life to say, oh, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that. I've been a murderer, I've been the victim, I've been this, I've been that. You want to experience everything. So why not be Judas? Why not be on the Titanic? Why not be Cleopatra? Why not be amazing people, you know, that we know of, Nostradamus? Why not be somebody great? You don't have to go back. And I've had people who've gone back to being potato pickers and just picked potatoes for every day, every single day we went into that life. I had one client who went back to just picking potatoes in Galway. He was a potato picker. That's all he did every day, mundane potato picking life. Anyway, let's go back to some questions. Anything else anybody wants to ask me? Do you feel any shifts after the huge group meditation? Absolutely. That was amazing. I've got so many people that messaged me after the group meditation, and we can see it all across the board. People were talking about how the Schumann resonance is around 7 point something. It was 79 or something on the night of the meditation. It just goes to show you that it works, because when you change yours change your vibration changes, and then it changes the person next to you, and that changes the person next to them. So we're all connected to each other on we don't even realize we actually are all connected to each other. And when you change you change everybody and everything else around you. So I could see it. So many people messaged me and said it was so powerful. Can the third eye be opened up too much? I had Reiki done, and after about 3 weeks I had ringing in my ears, and I went to a medium, and he told me my third eye was open too much from Reiki. Okay, so I wouldn't say your third eye was open too much from Reiki. I have to keep an eye on my time because it's going to turn me off. I wouldn't say that your third eye was open too much. Remember, your guides are only going to give you what you can handle. When I put somebody up on the bed, my hands start to go mad. My hands start to do all these symbols into the third eye and into into the pineal gland especially. My guides said it's because we need to activate the pineal gland to get rid of all the calcification that's going on around the pineal gland. You know that fluoride in your toothpaste calcifies your pineal gland. Pineal gland is your receptor to spirit. It's your intuitive sending and receiving station for spirit. It's right smack center of your brain. Hence why people are having so many bad headaches at the moment who never had migraines before. They're going through really thumping headaches, or really lots of tension going on around here and the temples, or the third eye, which is right smack center. You're being activated. So if you get Reiki done, because you're getting Reiki done, the energy is moving and it's removed off your pineal gland and it's removed off your third eye. So your third eye starts to work in the way it should do. And your guides will only give you what you can handle. So if I don't think, to be honest, that your third eye was open too much, because they're going to give you what you can handle. Don't panic about that. If your third eye is open too much, place your own hand on your third eye like this, or tap your third eye, allowing the energy to go. Feel the energy being tapped out of it. So it might be a lot of energy and negative energy in there. Just tap it out and know that it's gone. Surrender and release it. My intention is to remove all negative energy out of my third eye that's not serving me at this time, and let it go. You just tap it, or tap the top of your head, like what we were doing with the EFT. Very similar emotional freedom technique. Tapping, tap it out. You yourself, your intention is to let it go. So it is very easy to do yourself. So don't panic about thinking, oh, well, I had Reiki and it gave me too much. It doesn't give you too much. Drink lots of water over, the coming weeks after having a session. That removes negative energy too. So, and hopefully that answers your question. Do you feel anxious? I did that one. That's the third eye one. Any more questions? Anybody else? Anything before I go? And I was really bad the last time. I said everyone I was going to come on to do questions and answers, and all I did was talk for a whole hour. No, actually an hour and 20 minutes, and then Instagram turned me off. That's very funny. So I'm nearly coming up to my time where they're going to stop it anyway. So just let me just see any more questions there. Hi everyone. Hi Kira, hi Grace, hi Jody. So anyway, past life regression therapy, that's what we were talking about. There's so many experiences that we can have in this. So if you do want to come to me for quantum healing, I always advise, it actually is a lot of my clients who are my Reiki clients, Reiki students, they're the ones who come because they listen to me talk about it for so much and so long that they all go, oh, that's my next thing. That's the next thing I want to do. So I have a lot of my Reiki students that come to me for past life regression because they're already open and aware. As I said to you, the ones that I did way back in the start in 2016, when they came out of the trance at the end, they didn't really remember what had happened in the trance state. They didn't remember. They had to listen back to the tape to hear what they said, what their subconscious said about the life that they were living and what life they had just witnessed. If you come to me now, I know, because in the last few sessions that I've had, the people are on the bed and they're aware of what they're saying. It's the most amazing experience when you've had it done for the first time. You actually think you're imagining it. You think you're actually making it up, but that's the way it happens. Your conscious mind will try to derail it from happening. Oh, you're making it up, Hazel. You're making it up. We'll keep saying that in your head because your conscious mind doesn't want you to go there. It doesn't want you to go to the places where there's stuff that's gone on that you know that you need to see. I think in this lifetime, if we can start getting on our healing journey, especially the older crew have never done any form of Reiki or healing before, you get on your healing journey, start to get rid of all your old boxes of crap that you store, all of the old emotions, look back and all the stuff that went on in your past, stuff that went on when you were kids, trials and traumas, because all that does is causes depression in later life. You suppress it, you push it down, you don't want to see it, and then later on you don't know why you always feel angry, because you want to get out that stuff, that pent up anger from maybe being hit when you were a child, or maybe having experience happen to you when you were bullied in the yard. Those, you need to get rid of those in this lifetime, because do you want to come back in your next lifetime bringing back the same experience or the same patterns? Hell no, because it doesn't serve you in this lifetime. So what you need to do is see it, look at it. Past life regression, you go back, you look at the experience that you've had in a past life, anything that went on there that you have to learn from in this lifetime, you learn from it, you become more powerful. If you weren't powerful in your past life, you become more powerful. You learn how to get over your fears. I can't swim. I couldn't swim. 2000. Let me see, when I was 38, so geez, that was 5 years ago, is that right? 43, geez, I have no age. 38, I learned how to swim because I knew I died in a past life. I knew I died. I couldn't get to the top of the water. I died before I got there. I could see the light, but I could see the bubbles, but I didn't get to the top. And I know I had that fear of drowning, that panic. So I got over my fear in this lifetime, where I learned when I was 38 to get into the water and swim, and now I can swim perfectly. Well, don't throw me off a boat now, but I can swim in a swim pool. But I mean, learn how to tread water. That was the biggest thing for me. To know, to be able to jump off the side of the pool in the deep end and jump in. That was my greatest fear. And hell, I did it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just did it and jumped in. I couldn't believe it. So I got over my fears because I saw in a past life I died, and I didn't want to keep that with me. That next life I come in, I'm absolutely terrified of the water again. So past life regression is very good for that, because you can go back to old lifetimes where you've had experiences, traumas and trials, and that you've feeling you're bringing it forward into this life. And you also can bring experiences. So say for instance, in a past life, you've had your heart broken in a past life. You come in, your cells in your heart, remember you've had your heart broken in a past life. Your cells in your heart don't form the way they're supposed to form. And then your cells in your heart, as they grow, you have a deformity or some form of something going on in your heart, where you have a physical ailment in your heart. And when you go to the past life regression, they show you why you had a broken heart in the past life. You bring in your subconscious scans the body, scans the heart, says the heart energy is now being removed because you see why you had the broken heart. The energy is taken away, your heart becomes better. They fixed valves, they fixed cartilage. People who hadn't got a cartilage in a knee, the subconscious is so powerful, is able to rebuild cartilage while the person is on the bed. Most fascinating experiences if we really look into it. I mean, Dolores Cannon, over our 50 years of doing this quantum healing hypnosis technique, have had so many experiences that is documented in all of her books. So hopefully, I've got to shut up now. Hopefully that was information for you for past life regression therapy. That's what I do. Just quickly, just something else there. Thanks, Tommy, for sticking with me as always. If you decide that you want to go down the road and do past life regression therapy, you can hook me up on www.halotherapies.ie. You can leave me your information there as your email. I'll get back to you as soon as I'm back to work. If you decide you want to come to me for Reiki, for EFT, for any of the other therapies that I do, link in with me. I will be posting it up on my Instagram page over the next few days of the time that I'll be putting up the group regression for next week, World Regression Week, 2020, geez, what year is it? 2020. I'll be doing that, and I'll be putting it up not as a live because I don't want it to lag or anything like that. I'll be putting it up as a recording, and I'll be putting it up on my YouTube channel, Hazel Grogan. You can look at it there, and you can do it at any stage, and you can do that a couple of times, over and over and over. You can do it as many times as you want and get used to doing it. So when you do come to me, you're a pro and you're able to just go into your past life. It's really easy. You don't allow that conscious side of your brain try to make you believe that you're making it all up. So hopefully that was enough for you. Hopefully you're been outside enjoying that beautiful day. I was lying out in it yesterday, trying to do my little bit of work outside with my books and my meditation, which is so fabulous outside. Everybody's saying how amazing. They can hear the birds singing, no cars going, no planes in the sky here. So amazing. I'm loving it. I'm loving the fact that we're all indoors. Well, I'm loving it. I know there's people out there who are going through terrible experiences, and it's not really good for them. They've gone through the experience of having the coronavirus and that, and have had loved ones die, and I'm really I'm sending out healing energy to those. But I am looking at it from a positive thing from my side of it. I'm in my house in lockdown, and I'm really enjoying the time to get my books in and get all of my spiritual knowledge for my new clients that's coming. So hopefully that was enough for you. And if you have any comments or anything that you'd like to ask me, you can message me through Instagram. And this will obviously stay up for the next 24 hours. If you think that was interesting, you can tag somebody else and